That was sort of maybe kind of a common Bengals W. I don't know what to make of this. What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp. Trey Hendrickson has agreed to a deal of which will keep him in Cincinnati this year, even though he was already signed to a contract that he agreed to. They just decided to effectively double his money from 15.8 million up to 30 million, even though had the Cincinnati Bengals just extended him when he first wanted extended again, which again, I just want to be clear, at the time, they couldn't do within the boundaries of the NFL. It would have cost them about 26, 27 million, maybe. And that's per year. Probably less this year. If you're here, if you're watching right now at Common Bengals W, please leave me a thumbs up on YouTube. I'm streaming on my Twitter. I'm streaming on the Common Bengals W Twitter. I'm also on the Fightful Twitch and Kick. So if you all don't mind, head over to the Common Bengals W YouTube. I've been posting some videos that I take at like events, tours, some random clips, things like that. But I didn't expect to do a show today. I thought maybe I'd squeeze one in tomorrow and do one for cut day. But there is some cut news. But here is how it was reported. It is effectively a 1-year raise because Trey Hendrickson is already signed for 2025. He just didn't like the terms that he had agreed to. Gotta say, I've been there before, but I didn't threaten to not do my job as a result of that. I simply performed to a level of which my superiors did not have a choice but to come back to me and say, well, we definitely want to sign you for this amount now. So the Bengals upped the salary to $30 million. And there is a gentleman on Twitter, Andre Perota, who is just phenomenal with cap stuff. And he says, initial questions, does the amended contract contain a no tag provision, of which seemed to be answered and said, doesn't seem like it does. Now, this is important for the Cincinnati Bengals for a number of reasons. One, the absolute war that will take place if for some reason the Bengals tag Trey Hendrickson, although that seems incredibly unlikely given the amount that it would take. But agreeing to this deal at least gets Trey Hendrickson, one, on the field and gives the Bengals an opportunity to be a Super Bowl contender, because let me tell you, it was going to be bad. Trey Hendrickson not being on the field is a 7-point swing at minimum per game. It also gives the Bengals enough time to decide, well, maybe we want to do something else with him. Maybe we can trade him. Maybe if their season falls apart, they can trade him mid-season and get a little something back. Because if he leaves in free agency, you will get a third-round comp pick if the NFL deems it that you haven't signed someone of equal value since then. So maybe mid-season, if the Bengals season falls apart or the relationship is irreparable, or maybe Shamar Stewart becomes like the best defensive end in the league, they can say, all right, well, we'll go ahead and just take that third or maybe a second or something for him for the rest of the season, and hopefully we can make that work. And I need to take the cap off my water before I drink it. But they can also tag and try to trade him next year, but there is no chance he's going to play on that tag. Well, I don't think they would tag him anyway. Andre also asked, is there a signing bonus, or is the reported $14 million raise merely added to Trey's previously scheduled $15.8 million salary? Now, this affects cap space significantly, and Andre is a person that you guys should follow for cap-related things. He definitely knows his stuff about that. I kind of delegate to him. But the Bengals should absolutely have enough space to sign Dalton Risner and sign somebody else in the secondary. But I just want to be clear again. The Cincinnati Bengals cost themselves $15 to $25 million a year. as a result of not getting these deals done early. Here's my approach as somebody who knows very little. Keep every elite player that you can unless you get a too good to be true offer. And then you can fill in everything else. Joe Mixon was good, not elite. And guess what happened? They replaced him immediately. They were all right without him. Jesse Bates was elite, not good, elite. The Bengals let him walk, and they have never been able to replace him. Keep the elite players and fill in everything else. There are cut days like today. There are players that just get unloaded because they are ready to go. And to me, I just don't understand not making sure you lock in elite players. There is nothing that I have seen from Trey Hendrickson that leads me to believe he's not going to be very, very good to elite for the next 3 seasons. So, yeah. So, there's also rumors that the Bengals originally offered Trey Hendrickson a 3-year, $95 million contract, of which no money was guaranteed after year 1. I don't agree with not guaranteeing any money past year 1 because you're offering him a 1-year contract in that situation. You got to guarantee more money. Got to guarantee more money there. But let's be real. This was not anything. This was a holdup is what this was. And it was the Bengals. It was the Bengals walking in, handing somebody the gun and saying, stick me up. Because it was their fault. Get him a 2-year contract for the love of God, Mike Brown. He didn't want a 2-year. He wanted to either play out his deal or on a raise or do a long-term deal. Houday all the way. Indeed. At least he isn't going to sit out and he'll be on the field for week 1. That is big. Having Trey Hendrickson on the field against Joe Flacco, who is 40 years old, closer to 41 than he is 40, that is important. Tim says Cincinnati didn't let somebody walk. That could help them. Amazing. I mean, they didn't let T. Higgins walk. They didn't let Joe Burrow walk. They didn't let Jamar Chase walk. Listen, we can't say that, they let people walk all the time. Listen, they let Jesse Bates walk. That's it. Nicholas McClymont says, this is very stupid. I'm glad we get to see him play this year, as do I. Low Dog says, glad we came to some agreement with Trey. Mike Brown needs to pay him. That I agree with as well. Give him the 3-year deal. I'm okay with this deal. 3 years, 35? Or 3 years, 95? I'd be completely fine with the Bengals guaranteeing half of that next year and then a third of that the year after. Absolutely. Let's hope Cincinnati does better this year than last. Tim Traver, our good friend from the Diecast Collective. If you like diecast cars, go check him out. I think that they will. I think they'll probably win at least 10 games. And that's with a lot of question marks around the defense. I saw somebody say Al Golden wanted to show nothing of this defense, and they showed nothing. All right. So, yeah. I don't know how to feel about this. What I would like is the Bengals to agree to a long-term deal. 95 over 3 years sounds very good to me. Oh, man. So it was also some cuts that were made today, some waivers. Defensive tackle McTelvin Agim, not a surprise. Wide receiver Cole Burgess, definitely not a surprise considering the log jam they have there. Halfback Quali Conley, who had a nice showing of late. Safety Shaquan Loyal. Wide receiver Rashad Owens. Center Andrew Rame. That was going to be an uphill battle for him anyway. Corner Lance Robinson. and linebacker Craig Young. Again, none of these were surprises. I know that Quali had a good showing recently, but some of the more notable names, Andrew Stuber getting cut, leads me to believe that they think that they are going to sign a guard for at least depth in some capacity. Peyton Thorne, I mean, Desmond Ritter's going to the practice squad. Peyton Thorne was going to be an uphill battle anyway, but man, Desmond Ritter was real bad. He was real bad. So bad that I was like, probably prefer Peyton Thorne right now. But, if we're talking practice squad, I'd rather have a guy with starting experience doing some stuff like that, honestly. I'd rather have our defense practicing against a guy who has taken NFL starting snaps. Then there was Nate Brooks. And Nate Brooks had a play, and you can go back and watch the show that I did on Saturday, where he just gave up with like 10, 11 yards left. So I was like, yeah, there's probably a pretty good chance he gets cut. Because if I were the Cincinnati Bengals, I would not be looking at that with an incredible amount of confidence. Also, Taven Bryan was released. Now, I completely missed because I was working yesterday. Taven Bryan's wife apparently, I don't know, made some TikTok or something yesterday, and I don't know what the hell happened. Like something about her not having a parking spot, or I don't know who. And my response to that is, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Don't care. Let them sort it out. But what I do know is that Taven Bryan had the best win rate of any Cincinnati Bengal player on the defensive line in the preseason. So I'm like, okay, well, here, I feel like you probably should have, at the very least, tried to add him to the practice squad. At the very least, trying to do something like that. So some other notes that are quite interesting. The Commanders reached an extension with Terry McLaurin, 3-year contract extension worth over $96 million. And if you are a Cincinnati Bengals fan, you got to be feeling really, really good about this, because the Bengals got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and both of those men are better than Terry McLaurin. Now, Terry is good. I just want to say that. He is good, but he is not better than T. Higgins or Jamar Chase. And also, T. Higgins is 26 years old. Terry McLaurin is 30 next month. Jamar Chase is like 24, 25, right? T. Higgins, 6'4", 220. Terry McLaurin, 6 feet tall, 210 pounds. You got to feel good about this if you're a Cincinnati Bengal. The 17 game averages between T. Higgins and Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin averages 1,118 yards and 7 TDs. T. Higgins as the number 2 option to the best wide receiver in the NFL. 1,116 yards and 8 touchdowns. Yeah. Meanwhile, Terry is the number 1 option in Washington. You got to feel pretty damn good about that if you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan and you're looking at those deals and saying, man, that is an awful lot of money. I'm feeling really, really good about the Bengals resetting the market there. And if I'm NFL owners, I am like, please, for the love of God, let's increase this salary cap. Let's get the salary cap way up there, because these wide receivers are going crazy. Also, T. Higgins' catch rate is higher than Terry McLaurin. Again, this is number 2 option compared to the number 1 option. Now, what I will say about Terry, that man stays on the field. He stays on the football field. And T. Higgins, meanwhile, has missed, I think, 13, 14 games. Terry McLaurin has not missed a game in the last 4 seasons. But as I look at the Bengals multi-year salary cap table, I like the cap hits for Higgins are 24, 26.7, 30, and 33. And Chase is 23.5, 26.2, 33, 41, 53. So once you get to 2027 and 2028, that's when it really, really hits pretty hard. But they don't have to worry about the wide receiver position for 4 years now as well. The Bengals are now going to spend their money elsewhere. So I'm feeling very good about Cincinnati Bengals and the wide receivers and the money that they spent to keep that together. Now, do I expect Mike Gesicki to be a Cincinnati Bengal after next year? Probably not. And some of that money will come off. Terry and Debo going to be interesting for year 2 of Daniels. Run game without Robinson Jr. is very suspect. Yeah, but it's good that they got that done because I feel like the way that things are right now with Terry McLaurin, he's going to continue to perform at a high level. And Debo's good. But like he's been living off that 2021 for quite a while. Washington did need to keep Terry. They absolutely did. Jose says, Sean, not Bengals related, and I'm not a Raiders fan, but the whole thought on the Jacoby Myers situation, him asking for a trade, and then the team signing Amari Cooper. Well, the team's got to protect themselves. They got to protect themselves, and I wonder how that will, the Jacoby Myers stuff, and really anybody asking for like trades out of the Tom Brady-led Raiders will work because he is a guy that worked to prove himself as like number 1 quality for quite some time. And he is a guy that seems to get better every single year. And he is a guy that has never really had the opportunity to be like a big star anywhere. And I feel like he wants to be in a place where he thinks he can win. And gosh, I'm trying to think, like, I remember was he with Brady, which is interesting considering the ownership. I can't remember if he played with Brady at all. Yeah, his rookie year he did. Interesting. Who's the starting DE against Cleveland? Stewart and Trey, or Osai and Trey? It's going to be Joseph Osai and Trey. And then I would imagine Shamar is going to be spelling them whenever they need it. I will probably do another stream. If there's like a shocking cut, I'll probably do another stream this week or early this week. But I'm definitely going to do a season preview show as well. Excited to talk about who I think is going to win, but win each of one of these games. But the Cincinnati Bengals confirm Trey Hendrickson for 2025. This is a very important thing for the Cincinnati Bengals because if you don't have Trey and Shamar Stewart doesn't emerge, you really start to wonder how that is going to go. Yeah. Now, I will say this. I do understand the compromise here. Trey has been very underpaid. He was one of the best free agent signings the Bengals have ever had. And I hope that the Bengals can come to a compromise to keep him with the team. Do I think Micah gets paid this week? I think it'd be right before week 1, honestly. At some point, listen, at one point, I was like, just trade him straight up. If Jerry Jones doesn't want to deal with Micah Parsons, 26-year-old linebacker, one of the best players in the league, just trade him. He can give Trey Hendrickson the money. We'll take Micah Parsons, right? We'll take him. Guys, thank you all so much. We're out.